Today is December 20th, 2023. And let's go over the interest rates and what's happening on the market right now. Okay. So the interest rates, according to Freddie Mac, they were around 6.95. We know that it dropped even further down. So according to Mortgage News Daily, they were around 6.64. And that's what we're seeing right now, 6.6. So every single day is going to 6.2, 6.8. It's just hovering around 6.5, 6.6. And that's what we want to see. We don't want to see interest rates just drop automatically just within, a couple of days and then go back up or something, right? So steadily it will be coming down, and that's the trend that we do want to see. So if you're looking for a loan, maybe you looking for a two-family house or one large single family, and if your loan is going to be $700,000 for your principal and interest, you're looking at around $4,400 or $4,500 for your monthly payment. On top of that, you have to add your property taxes and your insurance. But just assuming that you're going to have a $700,000 loan, you're going to be looking around $4,500 at minimum. Okay. FHA, look, we're seeing 6.11. So maybe this client, when they're applying with good credit scores and all that, maybe they can get 6.11. Maybe they can get 5.99. It really depends on their credit scores and a lot of other factors that goes along with that. The best person that can give you guys advice on this is going to be your loan officers, your client's loan officers, or you can speak to any of our loan officers and they can guide you guys. Hey, I have a client that's thinking that they can get 6.5. Is that possible? Right. So one of our loan officers will run the scenario and see if their person is purchasing a single family, multifamily. Will this be for investment? Will that be your primary residence? All these factors do play in a role when it comes to interest rates. Okay. So look at some stats here, right? Down almost 1.5% just in 2 months. And that's great, great news for us as realtors. Why? Because more people will be interested in purchasing now. You might have a lot of people in your database that they were not active. Things will be moving around now, or they will be making a decision to purchase sometime near future because the interest rates are coming down. How much down did it come down? 1.5% just in 2 months. You can see that here in October 19, we were looking at around 8.03 compared to what we see in February of 2023, 5.99. That was our previous low that we saw. After that, it was just going up and up. But now we are up to the next February, right? In 2 months, we're going to have the new February, and hopefully it comes down to what we are seeing, what we saw last year, right? Or this year earlier. But as of today, look, on December 14, we were averaging 6.62, and today we saw 6.64. So again, 6.6, that's your national average as of right now, compared to sevens or eights that we saw previous months. Okay. So you should what should do with this information is that you should speak with your clients. If you have your clients and they're saying, hey, the interest rate was this, tell them, hey, they are dropping. Speak to your loan officer or speak to one of our loan officers and our team here, and maybe we can help you guys out and see how much you qualify with these new rates. Okay. So again, we're going to give a example that maybe someone is looking for a two-family house or one large family. If they want to buy a house that's going to be around $700,000, what kind of income they need with this 6.62 interest rate, right? So that household income has to be around $130,000 in this scenario. Their down payment around $100,000. Their monthly debt around 400. We always say 250. That's your average that we see here, but maybe they have, some of these guys have $1,000 debt, more than that. But let's just use $400 for now. And let's say they're going to purchase a property in Nassau and they're going to be looking around $10,000 in property taxes. That person's mortgage is going to be around 4,900, and the property price they can purchase around $717,000. The same person right here, when these interest rates were higher, they were qualifying for around 650, 625. So it's making a big difference when it comes to affordability. Okay. So if you have a situation, or if you want to know for yourself that, hey, how much do I qualify for? Our loan officers, they have this tool. They can, without asking for your documents or your tax returns or anything like that, they can just punch in the numbers and tell you what you can qualify for. Okay. Next, guys, let's talk about the news here. What was in the news? Majority of it was positive because the interest rates are dropping. So you can see here that the surge to purchase is going to be 6 months high. So we have seen that every month the numbers were cooling. They were not exciting because the interest rates were going up. Now it's going to be the reversal. So we're going to see that in the coming months and definitely mid next year. Okay. Cooling rate sparks optimism in housing pros. Exactly, we're the realtors here, right? So we are the pros. We're the one who's helping out the clients, and when we're having this conversation, hey, the interest rates are dropping almost a percentage, 1.5. Guess what? That's going to be good news, and that's the good news that you have to be the one that's talking to your clients and telling them about it, right? Rather than just them listening to one of the newslet, either through newspapers or online. You were the one that should be connecting with them and telling them that news. Okay, they can verify that after they speak to you. Okay. Fannie Mae, they're still saying that maybe next year that there might be a recession, right? So a recession doesn't just happen because of housing market. It plays every aspect of life is played a factor into that, right? And the government is always trying to avoid it. So if they feel like, hey, the market will come down, or there'll be a recession, or there'll be a slowdown in the market, guess what? They have the tool to reduce the interest rates, what they're doing right now, and they're saying that next year they're going to drop it or start cutting rates. Guess what? That's going to have a big effect on our mortgage rates, and they will start coming down, and there'll be a positive thing for the mortgage side and for our real estate side. Okay. Next is that the office market had it was pretty hard for any office market. It could be in Manhattan, it could be in Nassau, it could be in Queens. There's a lot of businesses simply want to try out and not pay the rent and see if their business can survive without an office. Right? Because of these virtual tools and all that, there's some businesses really still rely on the office, some of them do not. So it looks really hard for these landlords. Some of these landlords, they just want to convert these offices into residential apartments. And sometimes some of these, they just want to sell that property and get rid of it as soon as possible. You as a realtor should come in and see if you can be the part where you can sell that property rather than looking for a rental, which is going to be really hard for them. So anytime you have a client says, hey, I want to rent out my office space, or I have on Hillside Avenue, Jamaica Avenue, have a mixed use. I just want to sell, my first floor is not being rented out. Tell them, give them the option to sell and give them the comps and say maybe they will do it. Okay. On the other hand, the rent prices continue to decline. They're coming down. This is going to be our 7 month doing so. That's a good news for our renters. So if you're trying to rent out something, you have to put it on the market on the lower end instead of the higher end. Okay. So lower rates contributed to November's house building, but supply still needed, right? So reports show that's around 18% month over month increase in single family housing. Again, when the interest rates come down, the builders gets excited as well. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. According to Housing Wire here, that the housing starts to rise here, falling mortgage rates. Again, the same scenario here. Some of these guys are saying, will mortgage rates fall below 6%? We think so, that, coming down maybe in mid next year. It's definitely possible, especially when the Fed is indicating that there will be rate cuts. If there's going to be rate cuts, the mortgage rates will drop, simply put. Okay. Home buyers are ready to buy, but sellers are not selling. This is when you come in, right? As a realtor. Hey, there's plenty of buyers out there. If you were to sell your property today and purchase another one, that's great. You can do it. But there's going to be some sellers simply want to wait. They don't want to sell right now, right? Maybe their interest rates are below 4%. Maybe they just don't have any reason to upgrade or downgrade, right? So those sellers are still not going to be selling. But any client that you speak to as a seller, right, you are a realtor, give them the benefits why they should sell right now. Okay. Even the contract, US pending sales, these are your contracts, right? They hit highest level nearly in a year. We have seen it in every brokerage out there that the contracts were on the lowest end in 2023. Even the productive agents were not producing as much just because of the interest rates and the low inventory. Things should be changing, and I want every one of you guys to be prepared for that. Okay. All right, guys, give me 1 second. I just want to make sure nobody's on that end. Okay. All right. All right, guys. So turnaround in home sales likely in 2024. Why is that going to be? Because last 2 years it was really rough for the realtors and the mortgage loan officers. Nobody was just coming in automatically. Hey, I want to purchase today. Everybody had their doubts, and they had the right to be doubtful in this market. Now that the interest rates are coming down, definitely in 2024 things will be looking upwards, and that's going to be due to lower mortgage rates and improved inventory. And these stats are by NAR, your National Association of Realtors. Okay. Builder confidence improves, right? Again, we just spoke about that. This is going to be your builders. They're building their houses, but when the interest rates are around 8%, and it's going to be hard for them to sell. The interest rates are coming down. They're going to have more buyers, and they're going to be motivated to build more houses. And we see that boost coming in 2024. Okay. And these people, when they're building these houses, right, especially in Queens, if it's a single family, what they're doing to it, they're making it into two family, right? We have a closing, I believe, this Friday. Someone bought this house in 2022 for around $610,000. They converted it into a two family, and they're selling it for about a million, a little over a million right now. So, according to this stats, that most of these people who are building houses, they've been building a single story homes, right? But not in Queens here. Every property that you see a flip off, majority of them are going from single family to a two family. Why? Because there's a better return on that, right? They're making at least $200,000 to $300,000 after that flip. Okay, but it's not easy for investors. We have seen it, when they cannot get a CEO and they're losing money, they're just paying property taxes. They don't have the place rented out. So it's a really challenging for your builders as well. Okay. So investors, guys, this is where you want to really focus on too. Not everybody's going to be a first-time home buyer. As a realtor, you should focus on working with investors because they're going to be repeat buyers for you. Some of these guys are buying two, three, five, seven houses, and you would not know just by looking at them that this person is so actively buying, right? They might have a small business, but you have no idea how their small business is structured, and they can qualify to purchase a house every other a year or sometimes multiple in 1 year. So build great relationships. You guys have access to everything, the whole inventory, anything that comes on the market, you guys have full access to that. So be your, best friends with the investors. Any investor that you guys see, meet, you should be, really be all over them just because you want them to do business with you instead of doing it with anyone else. Okay. All right, guys. Next is going to be we want to talk about your any questions so far, guys? Anything that we spoke about? All right, guys. Next, let's talk about your New York City and Nassau, your income limits, right? This is one is your loan limits, and one is your area medium income. We should know this because we're realtors, and sometimes when your client is talking to you, and you might be able to guide them accordingly, right? So when we're looking at this is for Queens here, but when we do the search for Nassau, it was similar specs here. So this is for Queens County. So when you look at it here, 120% area medium income is that this household can make $139,000, and that's going to be your high cost area. If you look at 100% area medium income, that's going to be $116,000. This is when you're maybe living in, Albany, or you're living upstate where it's not a high cost area. That's your area medium income. High cost area, 139. So there are some different programs that allows buyers to go with a low down payment, maybe 3% down payment with programs like Home Ready, and for that, your household income has to be less than $93,000. So if you make less than $93,000, you will qualify for home ready and home possible loans. Okay. So these are your area medium income. This is what you make. On the bottom here, you see your conforming loan limits. So, meaning that if you're going to buy a one unit dwelling or single family house, your loan can be up to $1.1 million dollars, and you will still be considered conforming, meaning it will be under the guidelines for the government, right? So you would not be paying extra interest rates. So anytime your loan goes above this, you would have to pay a little bit higher interest rate because they're not conforming limits. It might be a high balance loan or it might be a jumbo loan if you're really looking for a big property, but you would pay higher interest rates when your loan goes above these limits. So for a single family, you can see 1.4. These limits are for 2024. So these limits for 2023 were lower, and even for 2022 was even lower than that. But we have to focus on what's going to be coming in 2024, and these are the limits here. Okay. So as we mentioned, if you want to be, you want a conventional loan compared to a FHA, meaning there's a lot of benefits to conventional and there's some benefits to FHA as well. But if you were to put down 3% down payment for home ready or home possible, you would need 620 credit scores. If you were to go with FHA programs, usually you need 580. In this case, you would need 620, and you would need 80% of your area medium income below that. Okay. And we just spoke about that, and that's going to be $93,000. And for your, because you're going to be going with home ready or home possible program, you have to take an online course or an offline course where they teach you about home ownership. So the government saying, hey, you're about to, only pay 3% down payment, you're about to purchase a house, so you don't have a lot of equity in this property, right? So we want to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing, so you guys know the responsibility, what goes on when you're purchasing a house, right? So great little program. It's a conventional program, 3% down payment. If you have a client that is interested, have them speak to one of our loan officers. Okay. All right, guys. Next is that your single family start search on falling interest rates. What does that mean? Your single families are selling a little bit more now because of the low interest rates. We're seeing that in Nassau. The prices are even increasing. We had one agent just speak to me yesterday. They went over $50,000 asking price. 50. I would not believe it. I said, how many times did you jump? He said twice. You know, and $50,000 above asking price, and still didn't get the deal done. Right? That either tells me either the listing agent already has an offer or has a direct offer, or might have a higher offer, but going $50,000 over asking price is pretty hard to swallow in this market right now. We should not be going $50,000 unless it's really, and it was not listed on the lowest end either. It was really where it should be, and he just had to go over $50,000 and still didn't make it. Okay, but overall, there's a demand for your single family houses. Okay. So when your client tells you, hey, what are some things that determines my home value? You guys can tell them, hey, first is that this is your house. Your house is 40 by 100. Just to give you an example, 3 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, is a single family. So we have to compare that with all the other property that's on the market that's recently sold, right? So for this one, if everything around you sold for $600,000, and how come I could sell yours for $900,000? It's just not possible. We have to keep it realistic, right? Location, where is it really located, right? There's some benefits when your house is on the main street. Some people love it, some people hate it, right? Your location really matters, which area is going to be. What kind of upgrades did you do? If you have done no upgrades at all, of course your property value is not going to be as high versus the person who upgraded their roof, maybe added a new boiler, upgraded the kitchen, the bathroom. Of course, there's going to be a huge difference in that. If you can afford it, Mr. Seller, if you can afford and upgrade your house now, you will get the return. But if there's no upgrades, just expect it that you're going to have on the lower end, the offers on the lower end. Okay. And how's the market, right? If there's any demand for it or not. Right now, you guys can see there's a huge demand for this, for the houses just in general here, right? There's just not enough houses on the market. So if you want to sell, you can definitely get the price you want, but it has to be realistic. And what are some of the characteristics of your house? Does it have a pool or not? If not, obviously it's going to be different. Does it have, how many bedrooms, how many bathrooms? Everything about the house we have to compare and keep it realistic when we're listing it. Okay. And when you're meeting the agents, your seller, sorry, you're the listing agent. We want anybody that's not focused on listing right now. You should be. In 2024, there's going to be a lot of home sellers. That's going to be homeowners that want to sell. So you want to be part of that. You want to talk to them. But when we are meeting them, there's four things that you should not talk about. Number one is going to be politics. Nobody cares about politics when you're, visiting their house. There's some agents fall through that trap. Hey, about politics, do not want to talk about those. You don't want to talk about other agents, right? You don't want to say, hey, this person is doing this, I'm doing that. No, it should be just focusing on the property itself or your other clients. If you're talking to your seller about other clients, he or she's going to assume that you're doing the same thing to, you're talking about them to someone else. So just keep it very, very realistic, just very private as well. Like, hey, I'm not going to talk about any of my clients. One great example of, is that one of the loan officers, this is one of the books I was reading, said that he had a party and everything. None of the members that knew that he's the one who did loans for almost everybody at that party, right? Some people assume that, hey, maybe they did it, but he never disclosed any of that. That goes a long way. That you're doing business, you're keeping it private. If it's their business and they want to disclose it, hey, I'm doing loan with this person, great. But you should not be the one who's telling them, hey, I'm doing loan for him or her or that person, because of being keeping it private. It goes a long way, guys. So please do not talk about other clients. You can talk about what you're offering other clients, but not a particular deal. And nobody cares about your personal, immediate personal plans. Nobody cares that if you want to go on vacation or anything like that. You, on one hand, maybe you want to sell my house. On the other hand, you're telling me that you have a family plan. So I know we're going to have an issue with that. So do not talk about any of your plans. Okay. You should focus on the property itself. You should look at the condition. Hey, how's the property looking? Is it looking good? Does it need work? What upgrades needed to be done? What are some minor things that this person can do to bring out some value? And what some major things that's maybe necessary, may not be necessary, that can bring down the value, right? If the boiler is, 10 years old, or the roof is, never upgraded, and you bought the house 15 years ago, of course, there are going to be some downgrades to that. So just focus on the property and the property's condition itself, right? Then talk about how you're going to sell that, right? Hey, Mr. Seller, I have a team. I'm gonna, list this property on MLS. I'm gonna send it to my team. We're gonna, try to sell this as fast as possible. I'm gonna host open houses. I'm gonna promote this online much as possible. It will be on Zillow, Redfin, all the other websites out there. I'm gonna sell this property as quickly as possible. According to me here. Next is going to be, what is your seller's takeaway amount, right? You're at that property, what they're concerned about. Hey, what I'm going to take away after I pay you, after I pay the attorneys, after I pay off this loan, what I'm going to take home. You don't want them to figure that out later. That should be a conversation that you're having with the seller. That, hey, I want to make sure that we're on the same page here, that there's no surprises. So we have a seller's breakdown page. It gives you, hey, let's list it for this price. We have your loan amount. This is what you have to pay off. Any other liens, if there's a taxes dues, anything that you are due for that property, you have to pay that off at the closing. There's no running away from that. Let's talk about the transfer tax. Mr. Seller, you have to pay the transfer tax, right? Let's include that. After all of those, the person will tell you, hey, let's go with this list price because you're giving me a full breakdown. Okay. And then last, talk about their plan. Hey, what do you want to do after you sell this property? Are you moving out of state? Are you moving to a different area? Do you need me to help you out purchasing that new house? You can make two transactions out of that same seller. Okay. So focus on the property, focus on how you're going to sell, focus on what's going to be their final takeaway amount, and focus on their plan after selling. Okay, this should get you the listing itself. Anybody, you guys want to add anything to this? All right, guys. So next, guys, we want to talk about your lead source, right? We have Zillow that's going to charge monthly. There's some agents that love it. Some agents do not like it because of the short sale property that's come on the market. That is a problem, right? But if you guys want to advertise, get leads from Zillow, you should do it. If you want to pause, don't want to do it, it's all up to you, right? So you have your Zillow that's monthly. You have your Opcity that charges per transaction, but it can be costly because they charge up to 38% of your transaction, right? Whatever commission you made. But they also have a new program now. So Opcity works with Realtor.com. So they have a new thing called Realtor Pro, which does not charge you per transaction, but charges you monthly, just like how Zillow does. Okay, there's no difference between Realtor Pro or Zillow. It's just that Realtor Pro is new, so there's going to be less competition there. So I highly recommend that anybody that was trying Zillow should try out Realtor.com, or at least see what they have to offer and compare the two. Hey, if my budget is $200, what can Zillow give me for $200? How many leads in that area? And let's compare that to Realtor Pro. And for that same $200, how many leads can Realtor Pro can give me? Okay. So when you go to Realtor Pro or Realtor.com, there's an icon for Pro. So this is called Connection Plus as well. They're saying that motivated buyers are just around the corner. So you fill out this section here. I'm an agent or broker, your first name, last name, phone number, and email, and click on Get Started. Okay. There's similar, very, very similar to Zillow. So you're gonna have lead generation a system where you can track all your leads that they're sending you. You're going to keep your customers engaged through that same system, and it's going to be there, according to them, is going to be a powerful pipeline. It does help. Again, is your money, you want to spend it wisely. Best thing to do is compare Zillow, compare Realtor Pro, and see what they have to offer, right? The way the market is, even though you're paying Opcity 38%, is still not bad, right? Because it can help you close more deals. We just had a deal done through Opcity, and the check was, I believe, more than $15,000, around $16,000. So even if you're paying 38% from that $16,000, you're still taking home away some money. Other than, if they never gave you that lead, you would never close that deal anyways. Okay. So it's always a win-win situation if you go with Opcity. Opcity does not have the greatest leads. Release them. So if you're not happy with it, just release them so they can get you another one. Okay. If you want to contact Realtor Pro, here's the number here. Okay. So next, guys, so that was your listing agent. As a buyer's agent, there's some agents that would call me and say, "Hey, we're about to put an offer, but Property Shark, could you check Property Shark and see if there's any violations, open permits or liens or anything like that?" Or they would say, "I'm checking on Geodata and it doesn't give me enough information." So when you're putting in an offer, you do not know about open permits, you do not know about violations, liens, or anything like that. You don't know what's in the property. You're just looking at the property. Hey, they want to sell it. Let's go with it, right? Um, the contract, what you want to tell your client is that, hey, we're putting this offer, but the contract must include a clause in there, just a paragraph that we need clear title. 99% of the time that every attorney should include that in there, but it's your job just to tell your client, hey, make sure clear title is in the contract. So what does clear title means? If someone says, "Hey, I need a clear title," it simply means that there's no liens. So when you have, there's some good liens and there's some bad liens. Good liens are what? You have a mortgage, right? Mortgage, there the lender is giving you a lot of money to purchase that house. Out of that 100%, they're the one who's giving 80 to 90% upfront to the owner. Hey, take this house, right? I mean, take this money, and the seller is gone. Of course, when they're giving you a huge amount, they have to secure it with that property. So they have to put a lien against it. Hey, if you foreclose on this property, if you stop making the payment, we can take over this property, right? So that's the one of the liens that you would want until obviously you pay that mortgage off. Nobody has issue with that. But unpaid taxes or any other claims for that property, it could be mechanical lien, meaning maybe you had some work done through a construction company and you decided not to pay them. And they throw a lien against that property. Hey, we did some work, we never got paid, and this person owes us money. So that could be a lien. So you want to make sure that there are no liens at the closing table. Obviously, that seller is going to pay off the mortgage, the payoff amount, but any unpaid taxes and all that is going to come through the seller side. The buyer is already saying that, hey, I'm going to purchase this house for $500,000. I'm giving you that 500,000, but I just want to make sure there's no liens at the closing table. Okay. Next is that no legal disputes. There cannot be a divorce going on, and they want to sell the house, right? They have to make sure that, hey, both husband and wife, they do agree on selling their property. They must Both of them must sign the seller's agreement, the exclusive right to sell, and all that good stuff. So there got to be no legal disputes. So not if there's four people on the deed, and one of them decided that, hey, I don't want to sell. Guess what? The other three cannot sell. Everybody has to agree to sell that property. Okay. And the last thing is the legal ownership, right? The seller has to, on the title report, will show that, hey, these sellers, it could be multiple people, that they do have the right to sell this property, that there's no one competing for the claims for this ownership. And if there's no liens, no legal disputes, no legal ownership issue, then you will get a clear title. So you should be talking to your client, hey, let's put in an offer for $1 million. We don't know if there's going to be any violation, open permits, liens, legal disputes, or anything like that. We're going to take care of that. All of that is going to be taken care of through the title company, and we will have a clear title. Always mention a clear title. Okay. All right, guys. Any questions, concerns on this? All right, guys. So some of you guys do want to upgrade your business cards with QR codes. Some of you guys just want to get a QR code to promote different things. One of the websites that I like, and it was free, was qrstuff.com. So you guys can see the screenshot here. So it's a code, QR code generator. So you would put some information, see what type of data that you want to input, and it will give you a QR code. So if you want to upgrade your business card, right, we're doing that. Anybody that wants new business cards, we're adding a QR code on the back of it. So where your client actually just scans that, right, opens up the camera, scans it, and they will have a link to save your information to the direct contact. So you want to be in many phone books as possible. So you want people to scan your card and add you to their contact right away. So it's a good feature. So the first where it says data type, you can click on contact details. And then where it says number 2, code content, you can click on V card. That's a virtual card. And then you can start putting in your information, right? You can include your, social media accounts, your email, your phone numbers, and your job title, and all that good stuff. Once you click next, it's going to give you a QR code. You simply download this image. This code will never change, so you guys can rest assured that, hey, I can use this code anywhere. It's not trackable, so it doesn't matter whoever scans it, because the V card, it can't track. It's a simple job is to basically add you to their contact book. Okay. So you want to promote it in your business cards, you want to promote it in your website or any social media out there. Okay. All right, guys. Next is that we don't want you to send your client to open houses alone, right? We are having this issue. We don't want you to lose your client, even when you have a busy schedule and you cannot make it to that property. Do not tell your client, hey, it's an open house, go see this open house, and I'll put in the offer tomorrow, right? Because I'm just not available. You can lose your client. The way the market is right now, there's so many listing agents are super hungry. So if they're getting a client that's coming to the open house without an agent, there's a chance that you can lose them. So this is a last week example. A listing agent hosted an open house. Client comes to the open house without an agent, with no agent there. The next day, the listing agent receives an offer from the buyer's agent. Hey, John came through the open house. Here's John's offer. We got a problem, right? And when that offer came in, there was no agency disclosure either. It was just the offer, right? So this buyer's agent needs to step up their game. One is that they have to attend the open house with their client, and two, when they're sending an offer, they have to make sure that the disclosure is there. That's why the disclosures are super important, guys. That it clearly tells you, hey, I'm representing John, and here's a signature for John, and that's my client, right? If you really there's no other option, you want to give heads up to the listing agent. Hey, I really apologize, I cannot make it. Could I send my client there? Here's the name, and I'm going to send you an offer if they like the house. A full communication through a text message, which you can track, right? First, you can call them or text them if you really have to go that route. My first impression should be that let's not send anyone alone. Okay, you simply don't want to risk it. Yes. Mhm. There you go. There you go. Exactly that. So once there you go. Yeah. So if that is the case, I mean, listing it, why are they doing that? Because they're hungry, right? They say, hey, I want this business suit. The buyer's agent is not as hungry. If they were, they will be there. Like, that the hunger part actually comes when you really want to close on that person, right? The listing agent, if I'm the listing agent, why wouldn't I do this? Hey, you're here, there's no agent, you're not bringing any agent, you want to see this house, I need you to sign this, right? There will be some buyers who will simply sign it. They say, hey, even though they signed another disclosure with another agent, right? So if you are the buyer's agent, just don't lose your client. If you're the listing agent, you're going to do what you want to do because you see an opportunity there, right? So I don't think we should blame the listing agent. We should blame the buyer's agent for not stepping up their game, right? Do you agree, or you think you want to add anything to that, Rupinder? Right? Yeah. All right. So please do not lose your clients, guys. Okay. All right, guys. Next, guys, we're realtors, right? So we should know if someone says, "Hey, I have $2,000 or 2,000 square feet space. Is a commercial place that wanna put it. Maybe you could put an office there. You could put a restaurant there. Whatever you want. It's 2,000 square feet, and I want $25 per square feet. How much is the monthly rent? Anyone? If it's 2,000 square feet, 2,500, $25 per square feet. What is the monthly? I got the calculator. Oh, I can't take the calculator there. So I got 2,000. Anyone? Tell me. 4166. All right. So how do we do that? Perfect, perfect. Well said. Yeah. So that's exactly it, right? There's some agents when they call, they try to times it and they get 50,000. They don't know what that 50,000 means, right? The key here is annual, right? So exactly like Tulochin said here, 2,000 times it by 25, you get $50,000. That's per year. You're dividing it by 12, you get exactly what he said, right? So at bare minimum, all our agents should know how to do this. Simply put, there's different calculation for this, that, and everything. Hey, I have the square feet. I know what they're charging. Multiply it. You get a yearly divided by 12. You get your monthly. Okay. So when do you, or what to do when you see the sign, guys? Anyone? What is your reaction when you see a house and you see the sign? Yeah, they would. What do they hang up? Why do they hang up? You know? Perfect. So just want to elaborate a little bit more on that. How did you, what kind of conversation did you have that he said, okay, fine, I'll give you the listing? You're well qualified. Nice. Yes. So that's perfect. So for sale by owners, they're trying to avoid the realtors. They're not trying to avoid the realtors per se. They're trying to avoid the commission that they have to pay the realtor, right? They just feel like, hey, they can do the same job without any problem. But we know what actually goes into it, just up to the contract part. Before that, how many times you have to show, what you have to really go through just to have an offer accepted, right? Going under contract and everything. And if you can tell them, hey, first, let me come take a look at the property, whatever you're asking for, right? Let's say they're asking for $500,000 or $1 million. Let me at least go inside. Let me take a look at the property. And okay, I looked at the property. What are you asking for? I'm asking for $800,000. If it is a realistic number, tell them maybe we can list it for 850, 870, and get you more than what you're asking for because we can do these little things, right? And the biggest thing is that you want to take away, this is going to be one opportunity that you have. Maybe you purchased this house 10 years ago, 20 years ago, some of them longer, and I want to make sure that you get your maximum money, right? I'm going to be the one who's going to be bringing in the buyers. I'm going to have you get the most eyeballs for your property, right? So we were going to bring in all well qualified buyers. Any offers that we get, I first thing I do is I speak with my with that client's loan officer and see when was that pre-approval given, what kind of work they do, and are they solid or not. Simply put, how long will it take them to close this deal? So I'm going to do all of that, and I'm going to do that multiple time until I'm satisfied and make sure that we are on the same page. We have to create a win-win situation for the seller, that I know you're trying to sell this on your own, but I know you got a full-time job. I know you have this and you have that going on. How you really going to sell it? And you're trying to get a maximum price. I'm going to be the one who's helping you out, right? But anytime you guys see for sale by owner, call them and take it from there. Even if they hang up, see their objection. Why? What is the reason that they don't want to sell or they don't want to list it with you, right? Sometimes it's an open listing. Sometimes they say, hey, I just don't want to give it to you. I'll keep it open listing, and then you decide if you want to move on or not. Okay. All right, guys. So the same homeowner, sometimes you can just tell them, hey, without spending any dime, you can do these following things when you're leaving that same for sale by owner house. Like, hey, maybe you can rearrange this furniture. Maybe it'll look more spacious if you move these things around a little bit. Hey, it's just my opinion. If you want it, take it, take it. You want to declutter. You want to take out this section here, take out that section. It'll look more nicer here, right? You can accessorize your bookshelves if they are. You can pick the flowers, the plants from the yard. If the yard is looking messy, hey, just taking care of this. This might take you an hour, it might take you a day, but it will bring nice value to your property here, right? And those little things here you can do to upgrade your property. Sometimes it is a paint job. Sometimes everything else is solid about the property. Maybe the paint is really old, and you can say, hey, if you get a paint job done, maybe it will increase your value as well. So give them little tips when you're leaving without expecting anything in return. That's what makes you professional. Hey, I'm giving you all the information. I'm on your side. I'm a loyal person. I'm ethical. I'm going to make sure that we sell your house, do these little things without costing you any dime. I hope this works for you, and then you leave. All right, guys. So that's your sellers. Next couple of topics we have is your home insurance. Maybe you are a homeowner that you have seen the home insurance premiums are increasing. Doesn't matter which company that you're working with. We have seen it with all our book of business that home insurance premiums are going up. Nobody has a home premium going lower end, is going higher. What they can do is just shop around. Even we're telling our clients, hey, if you feel like there's a huge jump, just shop around and compare your coverages. Okay, but just let your clients know that the home insurance premiums are on the rise. Okay. Commercial listings, guys, we already know loopnet.com, but again, try to see at least a day or two every single day if you can. Just go to this website and see what's available. Not a huge lot of listings come on this, but if you are representing sellers that's going to be on the commercial side, this is going to be your best website to review those listings. Loopnet.com. Okay. So this is a pretty big jump here. I know there's not a lot of people on this live call, but the recorded version as well, guys. We have this new thing that's going to be clients or agents that's joining us in 2024, right? But this also applies if for some reason you have joined us previously in 2023, 2022, 2021, and you're still, let's say you're on level one, right? Instead of 14 deals or 11 deals in this case, at any time you feel like you're going full time in real estate and you can close 8 deals in 12 months. At any time you close 8 deals in 12 months, automatically, doesn't matter which level you're on, you will jump to 100% commission. Okay. So what does that mean? This is going to be that you're a full-time realtor. You're, maybe at level one, level two, doesn't matter. You have done 8 deals in the last 12 months. You're going to jump to 100% commission and you stay there. After those 8 deals, because you did those in a short time, in 12 months, 8 deals, you will never go back. You'll stay at 100% for life. Okay. Any feedback on that, guys? Right. So this is for agents. I mean, there's few agents that's just few deals away from 100% on normal basis that joined us. There's no difference to you guys. It's a win-win situation. If you're on the old plan and you're gonna hit 100%, great. But this is for people who are coming in 2024, 2025, next year and everything. They might do 1 or 2 deals every year. They'll stay at 90%. In order for them to go to 100%, they have to complete 8 deals in 12 months. So this will give us a nice boost for production for experienced agents. We're not just looking for newcomers, we want experienced agents on our team. Okay. So we're going to be promoting this online. So you guys might see this to Keller Williams agents or EXP agents, all the other brokerages out there, anybody that has closed 8 deals, and this is going to help us on the mortgage side. So Terlochin, Hassan, all our agents or our loan officers will benefit from those because those agents hopefully will be doing a lot more business in house compared to outside, right? All right, guys. So any questions even later on, if you guys have, you can ask me on this, right? Next is for your auctions, guys. If you have investors, as we mentioned earlier, these are the guys who are flipping houses. They have money in the bank. Do not judge them, right? Some of them have millions of dollars and they dress like they don't have nothing. Please do not judge them. And this property here is coming in Roosevelt, and it's going to be on January 4th, 2 o'clock, in Nassau. So the lien is around $300,000. So I know that the bidding is going to be a lot higher than that. But if you guys can make it, please go attend this uh, at the Nassau County. Okay. Next is going to be your foreclosures and your short sale properties here. Again, if you guys can be part of these deals, you should call the listing agent. Some of these listing agents simply do not pick up your calls because they already have a client and they just have this on the market because the bank is requiring them. But short sale foreclosures, anytime you see a property, take some action on it. You never know when you're going to be part of those deals. Okay. Okay. So we usually do this. We have a few minutes left, guys. If you have a client, if they tell you, hey, I'm showing them the house, that the husband is making $80,000 as Uber driver, his credit score is 520, and the wife is making $125,000 as a nurse, and she has a credit scores of 750. Guess what? This person, if they want to put themselves together on a loan, they cannot get a loan. Even though he's making $80,000, his credit scores are not there. We need at least 580 to qualify. So if you have a client with low credit scores, tell them fix your credit scores as quickly as possible. Okay. All right, guys. Last thing I want to talk about is our Christmas party here. It's happening this weekend on Saturday, December 23rd from 6 to 9. No need to bring any gift. There will be an award given, one award to one of our agent of the year award. So please do attend from 6 to 9 and we'll take it from there. Okay? Any questions, concerns, anything on your mind, guys? No?